was a really, I don't want to.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Someone brought up the Titanic example, and that's one that comes up a lot on here. It's
I think that was Lucas, yeah.
I know some guys, they're like, well, it's, and I want to ask them, the ones that don't think it's fair, what would you have gotten in the lifeboat? And many of them would probably be like, yeah, why not? And then I want to ask, well, what if your kids were on shore and they were going to hear the story later, and then there was going to be a movie made, and you're being depicted in the movie. Now you live on. It's like, would you die for that?
Well, what's your answer to that? Would you get on the lifeboat? Try to get on the lifeboat,
no,
or would you stay with the sinking?
No, but
ship?
Everyone's probably going to say that. But no, I think because it's as unfair as it is. It's the same reason you'd be storming a beach or whatnot, or drafted.
Well, this is where I diverge a bit from you, Warren. I mean, so my own personal decision, if I was on the Titanic, and this is of course assuming like I have an option to choose to go on it, like there's not like other men who are basically like, nope, stay back. Even then I'm like, I'm fucking fighting to get on that shit. I don't care.
So the guy
Whoa, this is actually quite interesting, right? Because this guy is always, if you ask this guy, right, and everyone that represents the whole world of a podcast, right, if you ask them, what is the job of a man? They will always tell you it's to provide and protect, right? Like, generally, like, they believe in all these traditional roles of men in the society, right? Provide, protect, make sure you do, like, act in a respectful manner towards women in general. Now you're asking them, oh, during the Titanic, would you give up the opportunity of going on a lifeboat if it means the women and the children can actually get on it before you can? And now we say no. How could you possibly say that? How could you possibly say you, like, because he always makes an argument in favor of traditional roles, traditional ways, and yet here it is in the most traditional way ever. Would you sacrifice the opportunity of you being alive if it means women and children can get the opportunity first? If you're a traditional person and you do believe in traditional ways, you have to say yes to that. But obviously now he's being selfish and saying no. I don't understand how you can possibly like hold both positions. You can't in one hand say you are traditional and you think traditional ways are the way, masculine, like provide and protect, and yet when it's time to actually do it, unless what you're saying is if it's not for my wife and my children, I won't do it. It just makes you selfish, which like doesn't really have anything to do with it.
The movie, you would do that.
Was there? It's been a minute since I've seen Titanic.
He grabs the kid so he can get on the lifeboat and save himself.
If there's no repercussions,
oh yeah.
I will. If there's the most innocent baby, I'm gonna punt the baby and take the seat. No, I mean I'm about self-preservation. Obviously, there's limits. Like there's certain things I suppose I wouldn't do to like if it comes at like well, it's kind of like that question. Would you annihilate everybody else to save your family, your wife, and your children? That's a different. I probably would. Actually, wait, hold on.
Nah, that's not. This is so stupid. That's not a very masculine thing to do. And number two, this makes no sense. If everyone else dies and that means you and your children and your wife are the only ones that lives, what's the point? There's no point of that. You literally be the only human beings alive. What's the point of that? That makes no sense at all. He doesn't even realize where he's going with that argument. This guy, he's not very smart, is he?
Let me think about that. That might sound really bad.
I was just going to say, so you would kill the entire human race.
Yeah. So, okay, the question is, would I get on the life preserver on the Titanic?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
But it's like an honorability thing. Like, would you want to be the guy who jumped on the lifeboat while someone else died? Like, you would have to be that for the rest of your life. The guys in the Titanic movie, like the ones that are
guilt.
the ones
I can do. You know what's better than guilt? Still being alive.
The thing is, right, like, I don't necessarily agree with that, but I wouldn't think you're crazy for saying that. But if you're someone like him that believes in masculinity, right, because that's his whole show, masculinity, being the leader. If you believe in all these gender roles for men, one of the main components is you have to always protect women. You have to always make sure they're safe first before you can. At your cost, you have to make sure they are fine. Like, that is one of the most fundamentals That literally any traditional roles, any gender roles, that's one of the most important part. How you can just deviate away if it just suits your need. It's kind of crazy. It means you're not really traditional then. You don't really believe in everything you say then. Like it just makes no sense at all.
The guys that are depicted in the movie on the Titanic that are jumping on the lifeboat, now over 100 years later, there's dudes clowning them to this day because they're the guy that jumped on the lifeboat.
Fucking let them.
If you don't mind that, that's up to you. If you don't mind living with that, if you don't mind that being your legacy, then that's cool.
What's the point of being alive then?
Legacy. Well, I suppose I'm in a movie with Leonardo DiCaprio. Fuck yeah. I don't know. I mean,
You're going to go back and rewatch the movie and be like, oh, shit.
I don't know. Did they look bad? Did they look bad?
really
bad.
Really
Yeah,
bad.
they look really
None of
bad.
them say a word to him.
Of course, it's
Oh,
terrible.
I
Give
would
him the
fucking
stink eye.
sit there like
He just sits there like,
fuck you. I would be double finger like, oh, but to be fair, this is like a totally different like social order back then where there were more traditional expectations. Like now, if it's
But you believe in that though. He believes in traditional roles and gender roles. So why are you even making that point that well it was back then? Yeah, but you believe in it.
I'm sitting across, like, but the girl sitting across from me on the lifeboat judging me, she's like, she's a porn actress, and she's like, you're not upholding your traditional male standards. I'm like,
Well, neither.
You're literally a prostitute. I don't care.
Okay, but shouldn't you be the change that you want to see in the world?
What's the change that I want to see in the world?
What is it? Do you tell me? Do you want the world to be back like it was more?
Sorry, go ahead. Finish
More
it.
like it was during the Titanic times when the women on the boat were like chaste, modest women, and the man is like super masculine, like, yes, I'm going to save this women and not jump on the boat.
Yeah, are women holding up their end of the bargain on that? But I'll answer your question, but are women holding up their end of the bargain on that?
In what, like the imaginary
Currently.
world?
Yeah, currently.
Currently?
You
No.
said, oh, women are chaste and blah, blah, blah. and they're
No, that's not the
modest and
case
feminine
currently.
and-
That's like in the imaginary
Yeah, okay.
world.
But we'd have to
your
analyze at the
ideal
individual
world.
level as well.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
a generalization.
Well, and also, just because women reject their traditional gender roles, it doesn't necessarily mean men must also reject theirs. But I reject the disposability of males. So I think, I'm against it. That's the only way I can answer your question. I don't think men should like die for strangers, basically. I think there's an argument to be made. Should men die for like their family, their children, maybe their wife? But if there's a war,
And let's say there's a repeat of D-Day.
How could you possibly say that though? Like during war times, what do you think should happen? Like, because it's when you say men dying for like women to protect women, it isn't just on a normal day. Well, just shoot that guy so that it means he dies for his woman. No, that's not what it means. It typically means in precarious situations, in really hard times, like war times, like the Titanic. That's typically the example. It is in normal times. Men don't die for women during normal times. It's typically in war times or times of catastrophe. That's generally when it happens. So if you say, well, normally I wouldn't want it, but only in certain situations. But that is the point. It's only in certain situations when that's actually required. But as someone that is traditional, I'm so perplexed at how he can just evade it and just say, yeah, well, as long as it's not my family, I don't really care. How can you say that? You're a traditional person. You believe in that. You have to hold up the end of your deal. You always have to.
If we don't go, if we don't, who will them?
yeah. Well, it's interesting. I mean, maybe I'm being a bit pedantic here. I think the United States involvement in World War II is a bit overstated. Like Russia would have
Obfuscating, like, there's no point.
Russia would have wiped the floor with Germany, but that's another conversation.
There's no wrong answer.
Yeah,
It's a really fascinating experiment.
It's difficult because my position on war is I find most wars, even many of historical wars, like just kind of pointless.
By the way,
World War II, there is a like.
No one is just obfuscating now. No one is asking if war is good or not. Okay, it's just a simple hypothetical question. Okay, should we be able to give an answer quickly, unless you haven't even thought deeply about it. It's just well, the thing is, war is not really good. No, we know that. Okay, but it happens, unfortunately.
more stronger ethical, moral argument there. World War One, kind of totally pointless. Some Archduke Franz Ferdinand was assassinated, and that had like a cascading effect where like all these like European powers gone. Anyways, Vietnam was stupid. I'd feel no like national duty or pride to like go bomb like Southeast Asians. That was kind of ridiculous.
If Russia invaded us tomorrow,
like a defensive war,
and they had to enact a draft, should they be drafted?
should women, you know,
Would you want them around guns? No offense.
the Dutch woman, yes, she can.
Yeah.
She,
I feel like you could handle yourself. No, I shouldn't have said it like that, but I'm just.
I mean, the thing is,
You're good. I don't want to be in the war.
while I do consider myself more conservative, I have some divergences insofar as I consider myself like a male advocate. Some people call this like men's rights advocacy. So I put that beyond like conservative positions, because conservatives and feminists are actually similar in a lot of ways. But
Conservatism and feminism are so different, okay? How you can possibly in any way, shape or form regard conservatism and feminism like similar, there are just no similarities. It just makes no sense. They're not. They literally are not similar at all. Conservatism is traditional by nature, okay? It requires women having children. It requires women not having that much rights because there's a certain way they have to act, like having children, finding a husband. Like, you know, it doesn't get towards women having rights to be able to do things or abstaining from certain things, like having a child. Abortion, conservative ideas are against abortion. Feminism advocates for abortion. Like, these two ideas are vastly different, okay? I'm very curious how he's going to defend this.
What do you mean?
in how conservatives and feminists are similar. So I think, well, it depends what brand of feminism we're kind of looking at, but I think like there's a component of feminist movement that looks towards men's agency to like, but there's a blame that goes on, like it's men's fault, men need to fix it, whereas conservatives will say, won't put a blame on men, but they'll still say like agency falls on men, men need to be the ones like fixing problems and like being responsible in like leadership positions in like wartime and being soldiers and so forth.
I get you. I just don't think it comes from, I think it comes from the fabric of reality. It's not coming necessarily from society. It looks like that. It's an unfair aspect that is baked within the fabric of reality itself. And
that totally
always
makes no
existed.
sense at all.
So but I don't know, like there's probably definitely been historical wars, probably like smaller scale conflicts where it was just like, there's a belligerent, an aggressor who's like, we're going to conquer your land. And then like the people, the soldiers in the defensive position there, I think there's like good argument to be made that these men should step up for the defense of their land. And by extension, like historically, there were a lot of like war crimes committed towards women, like essay, rape, and for example, so like probably, a cohort of men in these societies don't want to see their women, either their wives or just their country women, I guess, getting raped. And then they just want to, and then if they do lose the war, the men are going to get killed anyway. So it's like, that's kind of compelling. But like,
does you realize that argument is literally what it's used for men to be able to defend women in general? Okay, that thing is referencing, it isn't just specifically defend your wife, it's to defend the women and the children. Because you can also say that for the children as well. Would you defend other people's children if you could? Or would you just be like, oh, well, that's not my child, so die, bro, LOL. Like, were you just going to say that?
Like, would I want to, like, if it was the late 1960s, early 1970s, would I want to get shipped off to Vietnam?
No.
Yeah. And I wouldn't feel like patriotic if I went to like Vietnam and just, I don't know, that specific war. I wouldn't have seen the purpose, but
this guy he's all over the place right now. Like literally, he's all over the place right now. And this setting right here, right, is actually very interesting because he's obviously brought on to like be on his side, but just a little pushback. He has no idea what he's talking about. This is why literally you have to be very careful. People online are actually talking I know I am doing the same thing, but a lot of people they don't actually know what they're talking about. This guy has no clue what he's talking about. A little bit of a pushback, and he's just all over the place. He can barely form a coherent sentence. Literally can't get his words out. He's just yeah. But you see, the thing is, right? It's like, bro, get to the point, bro. Generally, he's lost right now. He has no idea what he's talking about.
I agree with
Simple
that.
question.
There might have been a more noble cause, like in World War II. Anyways, I feel like I'm just kind of
Sorry.
avoiding.
Yes.
No, you're fine.
You are avoiding and rambling.
So did I don't know if I even answered your question, though. I think I was just yapping.
We can follow. I'm intrigued in the difference between conservative or the comparison of conservatives and feminists.
And how they're similar?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the best way... They're obviously not the same, but there are a lot of similarities. I mean, maybe you've heard of the, what's it called? The horseshoe? What's that called? Horseshoe theory? Where like the political spectrum, like as I could be misstating this, as you get to some of the extremes of like the left or the right, they tend to have like a lot of similarities actually. I'm not a like political guy, so I'm probably butchering that explanation. But maybe to bring it back to your point, weren't you asking something on this?
About
or am
the
I
draft?
just going?
About draft or what?
Lost my train of thought. Yeah.
Yeah, of course you lost your train of thought because there was no train of thought. That's the whole point. There was nothing at all. This guy, right? I mean, he makes a lot of money. He's quite famous. He has a lot of influence. But at the end of the day, if someone comes in your show and then challenges you or pushes you back, and you can barely defend your position without sounding like a baby, literally sounds like a child. If you can't do that, then you probably should shut down your whole thing. Because come on, like you have a big platform, your beliefs, you should be able to confidently defend them. Doesn't mean you have to be necessarily right. Like it doesn't necessarily mean that. But if you can't just form a coherent sentence, then you're probably lost. But that's just my thoughts. If you're new to the channel, subscribe and also drop a like on the video.